What are you doing?
Well, when David's away, the boys will play. Okay, so the day has finally come. We've been talking about doing like a rebuild video of this Telehandler, the 540-270, for a few months now. And this kind of completes the final phase here. So we've spent the last like 3 or 4 days here just like pressure washing, cleaning this thing out, getting it ready for a rebuild video. Today we got Tom and myself, and we're gonna be doing like a little boom inspection. We're gonna try and check for play in all of our pivot points on the boom. And so in order to do that, the final phase, like I said, was just kind of getting this boom clean so that we can do a good thorough inspection on everything today. The day has finally come that we get to do a little bit of winter maintenance and get this Telehandler back to where it needs to be for the spring. The biggest thing and concern for us today is getting an inspection of the boom, all the pivot points, all the pins. So we're gonna work on that together. Tom's here, David's dad, and he's gonna be performing the inspection, and I'm just gonna be running and operating the machine so we can check all the pivot points and all the pins for play and whatnot. So ain't nothing to it but to do it, as David would say.
Couple bad pins. The rest of them will show inside, but this pin here that hooks up to the hydraulics, and then the main pivot pin right here have some play. The rest seem fine.
Going through the whole unit, we were able to find out a few like problems that we thought maybe could be why we would warrant doing this boom inspection. So back here, we've got like a grease bar, and on this grease bar here, this is where we would do like our regular maintenance and just maintain it, putting grease into the machine. But these grease lines, they go and run upside the boom to each pin and each wear point. And so while we were washing, we found out that some of those grease lines had been severed off, maybe just from overuse or so much dirt and debris that was stuck inside there. And with those grease lines being severed off, we don't know for how long they've been like that. So part of doing the inspection on the boom today was because we thought that maybe it wasn't getting properly greased and maybe those wear points could have been really worn out. So I don't know if David had mentioned before in some of the past videos, but David has an opportunity to go into Germany for a couple weeks here. He's doing some work with Horsch and getting some education on the new seed drill that we bought just this last spring. So we're gonna pull this into the shop, but I was thinking, I wonder what David's up to.
Hopefully drinking some German beer.
What's David doing right now? Walking the streets of Prague buying new underwear because the airline lost mine. Half price.
With this rebuild video, some of the things that we're going to be taking a dive into is we believe that maybe the telehandler was in some sort of an incident where something fell on it or whatnot. So We're going to be changing a light bar out. We're going to be changing the front windshield wiper arms out. We're going to be doing a thorough inspection of the boom. We've got some anchor points in the garage. It's going to help us measure some of the play back and forth, up and down. Some fenders that are going to be replaced and some of the fender mounts that need to be readjusted. Some of the things that we've already done up to this far is obviously all of our fluids. We've changed out the planetary oil. We've changed out the engine oil. We've gone through all the cabin air filters. Part of our inspection is going to be accessing the roof panel and pulling that off. We believe that the radiators and everything that functions with the air conditioning and all the HVAC system needs to have a big look through. And currently we do not have air conditioning, which in the winter you wouldn't believe it. We actually need the air conditioning to pull the moisture out of the cabin. As you can see, it's all glass and it fogs up and steams up. So we'll be taking a dive into that. We've installed a new beacon light already. From there, as we go through this, there'll probably be a few more things that we have to deal with.
So using these floor anchors, I'm able to use a 2-ton jack, actually David's grandfather's jack from the military, I think from the 40s, but it works great. And what I'm doing is measuring the maximum deflection. So the boom is fully extended. There's another floor anchor over there, so I'm going maximum deviation. So full force this way, boom extended, to full force that way, boom extended. And I'm getting just under half an inch, basically 0.475 of an inch. Not bad. And I'm getting all this leverage on the pin way back at the back of the machine. And that's the main pin, it's about that big. And that's where we thought there would be lots of play. And luckily, it looks like that isn't a pin that we need to replace.
Okay, so a couple of the other things that we noticed over the last few months is this light bar bracket was completely bent. We've kind of massaged it and made it a little bit straight. This light was broken off, bent down. We've sort of fixed this light and made it operational at this point in time. We've, for safety reasons, we replaced the beacon. So I don't know if maybe something fell on top of this machine and broke the beacon off. So we got a new beacon installed now at this point in time. We've added a slow-moving sign, and these light brackets were all bent and actually manipulated all the way in. So we've turned them out, widened our stance, and made it safer for us to get between field and field. So it's like a kid in a candy shop. You gotta sit back and be thankful every once in a while. Today particularly, we are thankful to Noble Equipment for supplying us with all the needs for this equipment and this rebuild. Small little unboxing video here. I think it's quite satisfying for anyone who's watching or anyone who's opening up any box, but we're fortunate enough to get all that equipment we've been talking about over a little bit. So we've got new fenders all the way around. This here is a new wiper arm. So the front wiper arm has taken some sort of impact or whatnot. It's completely smushed and broken. We've bent it and made it useful up until this point. So we're gonna change out the arms on this rebuild. Light bracket that was bent, we've got a new light bracket for there. And then yeah, just some other decorative things that kind of go around the machine. And then we are now set up with all the filters, all of the oils, everything that we need to be prepared for next spring. So thank you to Noble Equipment. We're gonna kind of go through an inspection of what we've done on the inside of the, underneath the boom there. So as we raise up the boom, what we're gonna do is there's a safety bar that gets placed inside the boom on the main hydraulic cylinder. That way it's safe for us to be up and underneath the boom doing whatever inspection work that we gotta do.
Well, one of the problems that we're having with this has been ever since we got the machine, all we get is heat out of the HVAC system. We don't get air conditioning and we don't get cool air or just outside air. It's heat or no air. That's it, right?
Yeah, it is, yeah.
And so looking at the diagrams and everything, I mean, the HVAC unit's right there. There's the fan motor. There's a valve here that manages the heat or cold, and I think that's a problem, but I'll be looking into that real quick. Right now we're only getting hot, so obviously it's stuck in one way, and I have to figure out whether that's electrical or whether it's mechanical. So that's what I'm looking at. There's a beautiful diagram here. I really got to give kudos to JCB for David purchased the shop manual in the PDF format, and the pictures are excellent. The descriptions are great. The write-ups are great. I've worked on a lot of equipment in my life, and I can tell you that this one's near the top of the list for my favorite. I haven't found anything that I disagree with or say, gee, I wish I had more information. So in today's world, with all the things going on with right to repair and information that isn't shared by the manufacturer, I gotta give my hats off to JCB. This is well done. Hey, Kyle, what do you think David's doing right now?
I don't know. I sure hope that he's learning and not just traveling.
What's David doing today? Looking at horse prototypes.
Well, this is a little surreal. I don't have my voice, but pulled up the horse here this morning, and I see some items for the wish list and a few items. Well, one. Well, no, I just see a bunch of items on the wish list. This is a kid in a candy store kind of moment.
So the condenser on this particular unit is located at the back above the cab, kind of behind the driver. So I don't know if this is snobby or not, but if you've ever operated a tractor in the middle of the summer, especially a tractor like this, which is just glass all the way around, it can get quite hot in there. So we're gonna rip that off and have a look, see what we're dealing with. Oh man. So it looks like someone else has been in here before, and something as simple as removing the cap off this thing, one of the bolts is stripped real bad, so we're gonna have to extract that. Okay, so we have now finally extracted the bolt that was stripped out. So the moment of truth. This is, we've been waiting a long time to see what's under here. You gotta put a big hand out to JCB for inventing things like this. This beacon light here, it's actually magnetic and it just comes off pretty quick and easy. So slide that off. We'll unplug her there. Time to access the compressor for the first time.
Condenser.
Oh man, I would have had a hairy. I guess this is why we call it farming ain't easy. Something is taking a cap off of a cab is now taking me over an hour. So just to put it into perspective here, you can see the amount of mud. If you could only imagine this whole machine, every compartment that we opened up looked exactly like this. Now, I'm willing to bet that the amount of mud and debris is also inside the condenser. And so we're gonna be pulling that apart and getting to the bottom of this heating issue. Okay, now that we got that off, we're gonna fit up the new fender. You can see that this one's taken so much damage. We actually had to take a Sawzall and cut it because it was rubbing on the tire. It actually eroded the tire a little bit, but I think replacing the tires on this will be another video for another day. Yeah, this is how we'll see if it fits. So it looks like that's gotta come up.
I'd more worry about front to back for now.
They gotta be spread apart and go up.
How much further apart?
About an inch. And you can just see that this one's gotta come up. They both gotta come up, actually. Something has landed on this before is what we're suspecting. And so because of that, we'll try and massage the metal and get this fender on. We're fixing tractors here, not pianos. So yeah, as we're digging into this, makes me wonder. I wonder what David's doing as we're here wrenching and making this tractor where it needs to be. You think he's drinking German beer or
Jaeger?
Jägermeister or talking with Horsch?
We're at the first of 3 factory tours here for Horsch, and there is red equipment everywhere. And this is kind of exciting because maybe 9 months ago, we didn't know what one of these looked like firsthand. And now we're standing in front of lineups of horse avatars. And these are the European spec like ours. This is a 6-meter machine and a 4-meter machine. So it's kind of funny to see the smaller sizes. We bought the bigger one. We've got the 8-meter, but obviously these wings don't fold up very high. Top of the toolbar doesn't even go taller than the tank, but on ours they do by quite a bit. Anyway, it's kind of neat to see some of these sizes that typically we wouldn't even see in Canada. Our 8-meter machine is pretty rare, so kind of neat to see what else is out there. But this horse tour so far is pretty cool. We've got to meet several of the family members of the original founding horse members of the family, and they have been fantastic hosts to us. And yeah, the quality of these tours have been really, really high, and learning lots and seeing lots. Like, look at this little 6-row planner here. Pretty cool stuff. I did not know how large Horsch was as far as how many implements are in their lineup, but I heard in one of the conversations this morning that Horsch has 280 pieces, so 280 different implements in their portfolio. And other than the big 3, we all know who those are, Horsch is like the 4th biggest implement builder in the world. So I know we don't see a lot of it in our area, and that's coming, that's changing, and where their plans are for future growth is just crazy. So there's red equipment here as far as the eye can see. We're at the Horsch. There's a lot of Horsch acres here that they farm. The Horsch family owns a lot of different farms, but this factory here is the original homestead where Michael Horsch started building some implements for their own family farm back in the day 40 years ago. So to think that Horsch is a 40-year-old company and is now the 4th biggest implement builder in the world is pretty darn cool. And the success that they've had, and it's still a family-run business with some pretty cool succession planning. So pretty cool things to be listening about here. But I'll stop there.
Kind of finishing touches here, squared up. All right, the next thing we're gonna get into is installing the wiper blades. These ones are brand new and straight like they're supposed to be. The other ones are severely bent. We did find a ton of glass inside the cab, so we're thinking maybe the windshield was busted out of it, something fell on it. So we'll go ahead, install those, and we'll be able to clean our windows. Need some more leverage. Of course, it's full of mud. Maybe we gotta spin that bowl. There we go. Undo that hose down there, Tom. But we can do that after, right? Just a couple more wipers up on the roof, but looks like we're getting it dealt with.
Well, it looks like the HVAC is going. So suspected the actuator, pulled the actuator out, turned on the machine with the actuator out, had it hooked up to electrically to the controller, and you could see that it turned. So then I reached in there with a pair of pliers and turned the actual control that it activates, and turned it manually to one end, started the tractor, and I had cold air. I thought, okay, well, let's see what happens if I hit air, AC, and got colder. So then I shut the tractor off, turned it all the way to the opposite end, and got heat right away. And then Kyle and I went through everything again as he was sitting in there, and we put defrost on, and temperature control worked on the defrost. So it sounds like, it looks like it's working. And all I did was manually override it and then put it back together, I guess, at the end of the day.
Okay, everybody, thanks for watching today. Our primary mission today was to do a thorough inspection of the boom, check for play, check the pins, check all the wear points. We're super happy with the way that the tractors turned out. We did find a bunch of faults, but through just a little bit of massaging and inspecting and checking it out and working, and we were able to diagnose the HVAC, get the new fenders on, the new windshield wipers, a thorough clean, a thorough inspection, and we're pretty thankful that as bad as the JCB was when we first got it, a lot of the things that we're fine-tuning are actually quite easy to fix, and we're not having to throw a bunch of pile of parts at this thing. So thanks for watching, and stay tuned for some of the updates from David in Germany.